Hi everyone, this is Jim Tolles, and the topic for this video is how to bring spirituality into our everyday life. Now, for many of you who've touched spirituality and touched those deep spaces of connection and love, you want to have more of it. And why not? Who doesn't? It's a wonderful feeling to feel connected to yourself and to feel connected to others. And so that brings in the topic of, well, here I am at my 9 to 5 job, or here I am with a child that's throwing up all over me right now at 3 a.m. And how is this spiritual? And I think this is really, really important to understand about the spiritual path. It's about accepting everything as it is. And it's about accepting every state of awareness in your life as perfect as it is. It doesn't mean that you enjoy it. I think there's this big misunderstanding around love and acceptance, because love is ultimately total acceptance of what is. When you have no resistance towards what life is, there's just so much more freedom and so much more flow in life. And that initially changes a lot of things for people. I mean, that's what happens with the awakening for most people, is in coming into this deep space of love and acceptance, their whole life has to change, because now they're in their flow. And where before they were just all locked up in these other ideas, doing things they didn't want to do. And that was running counter to who they were. And most people are so inner divided and at war with themselves that to suddenly lose that war suddenly makes it evidently clear where they belong. And that may not be in this job or relationship or situation or whatever it happens to be. And so love starts to flow. And at other times, that love is going to force you into more difficult situations not to make changes, to really stick it out in a new way. And this is especially true for those people who've been trying to run away to things to make things better. And especially for those of you who are trying to always make things better, just stop. The spiritual path says to accept things as they are. The more you're in that space of acceptance, it will become clear if something needs to change, or if you simply are going to have patience in this space. And that's a profound practice, and it's an important practice, because we're not trying to change the world, and this is so fundamentally different than the way most people are acting. We're simply accepting it as it is. And in that acceptance are the seeds of the most profound change that you could possibly bring. It sounds like a paradox. It sounds impossible, and to the ego mind that wants to run and say, but there's wars and there's all these difficult things going on. And, so-and-so is cheating on me, right? My boss is a jerk and my employees don't listen to me, yada, yada, yada. But things are still going to be difficult. There's still going to be challenges in life. So bringing spirituality into your everyday life doesn't mean you're making some sort of easy, luxurious, constant, blissful high in your world. And this is an important thing to understand, because most people are associating spirituality, well, they associate it with a bunch of different things, but a lot are associating it with this sort of high state feeling, like they can somehow get this one feeling and feel it all the time. But that's not life. It doesn't matter how realized you are. If you stub your toe, you're going to feel pain. The difference is that the way you approach it, it's like, I just stubbed my toe. And you're done with it. Not a big deal. But if you're still in the ego mind, you stub your toe, and then you're mad at yourself for stubbing your toe, and then you're trying to think about how I shouldn't do this again and what I should change. And, should I be more present, right? Should I focus really hard? Should I just get rid of that doorstop that I hit? As if you're getting rid of the doorstop will stop you from ever stubbing your toe again. Or just line the entire room with foam rubber, so there's no possible way that you can stub your toes. People try to do that. They're metaphorically trying to line their lives with foam rubber, so they'll have like some perfect job, a perfect relationship, a perfect family situation, perfect friendships, a perfect community, a perfect living situation, a perfect city they're in, all these things that, whatever perfect means to them, that will somehow keep them free from ever feeling pain again. And that is not the spiritual path. For most people, when I'm doing work with them, I am taking them directly into pain, which can be shocking. They're like, whoa, why is this feeling worse working with this guy? That's feeling worse because that pain's already there inside you. And that pain is that division between you and your real self. And more often than not, a lot of the most important lessons people are learning on their spiritual path is coming directly from facing this pain. It's not coming from the high state experiences where they feel really good for a while. And this too is illuminating. It's one of the reasons I do like how, while yoga has really been kind of stripped down to just this athletic experience in Western culture, it still does help people to be with difficulty and to see the importance of being with that difficulty as you move through a difficult pose, as you're focusing on your breathing, even as your body is starting to shake and tremble a little bit, you know. It's showing you that when you're with difficulty, there is kind of a reward. And you don't want to get into the reward benefit mentality here either. Bringing spirituality into everyday life, once again, isn't about making things better. But yet, as you bring acceptance and presence and loving intention into every aspect of your life, it tends to make it better. It's like, I don't want you to think that that's what's going to happen. In some respects, it's going to make it a heck of a lot messier for a while. Maybe it'll be messier for the rest of your life. But the external mess is very different than the internal mess. If you're cleaning up the internal mess, whatever's going on around you isn't as bad. So for example, if you're supposed to be a diplomat who goes into highly charged situations, you're going to be around a lot of a mess a lot of the time. There are people very upset, you know, factions, possibly multiple factions, are at war or fighting each other or disagreeing, whatever the situation is you're going into. But within, you know what you're doing is true. So there's a level of peace and connection and love that you're feeling. It doesn't mean pleasure and enjoyment, right? Because we're still human beings, and if people are yelling at each other, it's not as fun as sitting around having a nice quiet conversation versus having sex with your partner. So I really, really encourage you to divorce this idea that spirituality is just going to make you happy and feel good all the time, and that if you can bring it into all of your life, you're going to feel happy and good all the time. That's just not how it is. That's not life. That's not what we're here to do on this planet. But as you accept that there are many different ways of experiencing life, there are many different states of awareness that are going to arise in life, it becomes so much more fluid, so much more easier. And it being easier, you're not trying to fight the difficulty anymore. You just say, oh, here's difficulty. What is it that I need to do? I accept that there's difficulty in my life. You know, it could be, I accept I've had an argument with my lover. Okay, so what is needed here? You know, what brought the argument in me? How do I create a space to resolve it with this person? Does it need resolution? Not everything needs resolution. Is this the part of, you know, me having to let go of this relationship? What does this mean? You know, how do I be present to it? So this is how we're bringing that spirituality into that moment, that presence, that love. And then, of course, we're accepting whatever the outcome is. It doesn't mean we're going to get the outcome we think we want. But how often does the outcome we don't think we want end up being the one that teaches us the most, helps us to grow the most, helps show us more about ourselves? These are things to remember. So bringing spirituality into your everyday life isn't about setting up a meditation at lunchtime. You can do that. Sure, that's great. It really is about the quality of presence and just staying in that presence and that loving awareness and accepting things exactly as they are. From that space, you can do whatever it is you need to do and feel true with yourself. So once again, my name is Jim Tolles. I hope you found this useful. You can find me at spiritualawakeningprocess.com. Have a great day.